for £55 million. Viktor Gyökeres, BANE, Gyokeres, whatever other nickname you want to give this guy, has finally arrived at Arsenal Football Club after so long of negotiations and talks with Sporting and back and forths and no one really budging, and a lot of fear coming about of potentially other clubs trying to hijack this move from Manchester United. Ultimately, it didn't happen, and Viktor Gyökeres is an Arsenal player. For £55 million, this is a great deal in my opinion, for a guy that is one of the most sought after strikers in the whole of Europe, one of the top goal scorers over the last year, someone who's here for the here and now, and someone who's going to lift the rest of the team, and somebody that other players can look at and say, you know what, we have a focal point. If the matches get a bit tough, if it's 0-0, if you need to find a goal, we have a focal point, and we have a guy that can say, Viktor Gyökeres, take us home, get the goal for us and win us the match. Because through so many draws last season, we didn't have that focal point, and Viktor Gyökeres is finally going to be that guy that's going to help Arsenal get over the line. A guy, since Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, after seeing so many people play up front for Arsenal, I'm not sure if I'd class majority of them as strikers, but guys that have played up front but just haven't been able to get over the line, this is the guy I'm very confident on that will get Arsenal over the line, that will get Arsenal winning trophies and potentially winning the Premier League or maybe even the Champions League. You never really know. But one thing's for sure, he does increase Arsenal's chances quite significantly. And for those of you who've been living under a rock and have no idea who Viktor Gyökeres is, allow me to educate you on who he is and give a bit of a breakdown. Over the last 2 seasons, this guy's been playing for Sporting Lisbon. He's scored 97 goals in 102 appearances. Just last season, he scored 54 goals in 52 games. Where do you hear numbers like that other than if your name is Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo? You don't hear those numbers anywhere across the world. He's led Europe top 10 leagues in goals. He's had high shot volume and conversion rate with 4.5 shots per 90, and he's outperformed many people in the Premier League. He's not just a poacher, he creates chances. He's second in Sporting for open play shot creating actions, and he carries into midfield and presses defensively. So for many people saying whether or not he would fit Arteta's system or not, he is a guy that's going to press and work hard and get the ball. That is something that I know Mikel Arteta would love. Now, don't get me wrong, is he absolutely perfect for Mikel Arteta's system? Probably not, but maybe you need that little bit of difference. Maybe you need that guy that's going to give you something else, something that can get you over the edge and really take things over the line. And Viktor Gyökeres can be that player. And mind I not say, he's a guy that is physically strong, fast, he's a tank. He's a guy that's really just going to barge his way through everyone and really give any player in the defense in any team problems. He is a guy that's 27 years old. He's in the prime of his life and he's ready to take Arsenal on his back right now. That is literally what he's going to do. And this is why I praise Andrea Berta. This is one of the reasons why Berta was brought to the club, to make signings like this, superstar signings, world-class signings, signings that will take Arsenal over the edge and make them a force across the world, because this is the sort of signing that will get Arsenal over the line. And I know Arteta wanted Sesko, and I know there were various reasons about his football IQ, his tactics, his formations, his system. He probably thought Sesko fit a lot of that, but it's not about the future, it's about the here and now. And I think with Andrea Berta, with what he was able to do in getting Gyokeres over the line, he managed to persuade the Arsenal management. He managed to try his best to see what was going on with Sesko, but ultimately Sesko didn't work out and he's gone for Viktor Gyökeres. And from my opinion, I would have done the same thing too, because Arsenal is about the here and now. Now, I know what people's main concern is, and it's a concern that a lot of people have with the Portuguese league. Will they translate well to the Premier League? People look at Darwin Núñez and João Felix, and even Rio Ferdinand's been saying he's not really convinced with Viktor Gyökeres, because while people score a lot of goals in the Portuguese league, when it comes to coming into England, it's a different ball game. And Viktor Gyökeres has come to England before, but he hasn't hit those same heights. I mean, he played in Swansea, he played in Brighton, he's done very well in Coventry, but that was in the Championship. But this is a player that has gone to Portugal, that has played in Europe, in the Champions League, and has managed to score goals everywhere. And now if we were to look at some other players that have come from Portugal, and especially from Sporting, yeah, you can say Ronaldo, Nani, Figo, but what about guys like Di Maria? What about players like Bernardo Silva? What about players like João Neves, who literally just came from Benfica and gone to PSG and helped them win a Champions League title? There are, like, as much as people may say that in the Portuguese league it's not a great league and it may be difficult for players to play in the Premier League, likewise there are other players that have come from the Portuguese league and have done very well across the world. I mean, it can go either way. Now, people can also say his aerial ability isn't the best in the world, and I know Arsenal love their set pieces and corners, but here's the thing, he provides so much more otherwise. And yeah, maybe it may not be his best, but it's something that he can definitely work on. And I think there was another player who played for Arsenal, a certain number 14, and he wasn't the best at heading as well, but that didn't matter too much, because what he did with the ball between his feet is what counts. And Viktor Gyökeres is a guy, while he's a bit more clunky, he can also provide a lot more in terms of goals. So it won't be something we need to worry about too much, because we have so many other players that can do headers. You can talk about Saliba, Gabriel, Marino, Havertz. The list goes on and on about players who could score headers. Style wise, he can do a high press. He's good at link-up play, and he tends to drift towards the left, similar to another number 14 that we love talking about right now. I'm not going to name the names, you know who I'm talking about, but he will create transitions and he will carry the ball, and that is something that we can expect of Viktor Gyökeres. And he scores a hell of a lot more goals compared to the guys we have. Now let me give you the list. Gabriel Jesus, 8 goals, Kai Havertz 13, Trossard 12, and Nketiah 6 goals, and that was all in 2023-24. And Viktor Gyökeres 54 goals. I mean, is there a comparison? I don't think so. That is way more compared to these other guys. And if we really wanted to do a bit more of an in-depth analysis, especially for Darwin Núñez compared to Viktor Gyökeres. Now yes, Núñez did well in the Portuguese league and he hasn't done as well in Liverpool. However, if we were to look at Núñez's time in the Portuguese league, we would see that he was more streaky when it came to his goals. Some games he would score a hell of a lot of goals, and other games he'd be very quiet. Compared to Viktor Gyökeres, he was very consistent. Every game he would score a goal or two, and that was how he was able to go through those leagues and go through those teams and really develop his reputation in that way. So yeah, those are my thoughts about Viktor Gyökeres. I mean, he is a guy that's really going to help us out. In terms of all-time high-scoring seasons, he's on the same list as Messi, Ronaldo, Lewandowski, Erling Haaland, and he's there. So is Viktor Gyökeres. Now that is absolutely crazy, to say the least, and I just hope that he comes to Arsenal. He's going to have a lot of pressure on him, no doubt, but I think with a player like that, it's bound to happen. And if he can replicate the scoring potential that he's had in Sporting and take it up a notch, the sky's the limit for him. And I think there's a lot of things for Arsenal fans to get excited about. Now yeah, there's also talk about further signings and whether this is it or whether this is everything need. Now that's a separate topic altogether. Obviously Arsenal need a hell of a lot more signings in my opinion, but this is something today Arsenal fans can really get behind, and it's something that can really put a lot of smiles on everyone's faces. And just for today, I would say Arsenal fans can really be happy about this. So yeah, Viktor Gyökeres is a gunner, guys. I'm really happy after so long of waiting for a striker. I don't know, people talk about the Mesut Ozil signing on deadline day, other people talk about Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang signing as well, and Declan Rice, and I think this will be a signing that's on par with those sort of signings, especially of the last couple of years. And what can I say? This is a signing that gets me really excited, and I can't wait to see him play. Anyhow, Viktor Gyökeres, welcome to the club. Can't wait, mate. Let's go. Please like and subscribe, and see you soon.